All this music looks really horrible. I bet it sounds like shit. Right, sorry, I mean, hello everybody, how are you? Yeah, that was right. It's garbage, but I just wanted some sound on the background, so what I'll do is, okay, if the music gets too annoying, for whatever reason, just tell me and I'll change channel. Right, hello viewer, how are you? Oh God almighty. Right, so I did some work yesterday on my door, but I wasn't particularly happy with it. So, first things first, I'm going to go into Epic and I'm going to delete the test model I did of the door because, like I say, I wasn't happy with it. What I'm going to do instead is I'm going to expand on it. Sup.
Can you make a coffee? Because I don't know how to do it.
What kind of coffee do you want?
Just like a sweet one.
Yeah, no worries. It'll give me a chance to load up Unreal Engine. Sec. Let me just this one, I think. Okay, give me 2 seconds.
Preferably sugar and not like sweet.
It'll turn itself off. Right. Hello, cat. How are you? Right. Now, I have got some stuff I want to get rid of. So, I'll go to SM Wooden Door, which I don't think is being used at the minute, and hit delete. Right, I need to go into Workbench. So, recent levels. And this is just me getting started, so, you know. Right, so I'm going to get rid of these. Delete. Gone. Okay, now I can close this down. Okay, and I've got a folder that I was using for this, so desktop, wiki, SM Wooden Door 1, and I'm just going to delete all of these. There we go. Okay, back to 3ds Max. Now I'm going to import my model that I started with. So File, Import, and I'm going to go into my SM wooden door and just open that up. Now, while this isn't a lesson or tutorial or anything like that, if there's anyone in the stream that has any questions, please feel free to ask them. Right, I'm going to get rid of this. Okay, because I'm not using Houdini at the minute. And let's have a look. So this is my door that I've made so far. As you can see, it's kind of doing the job. There's a couple of things that I want to do with this though. Okay, so this handle here is one of them. So let's see. This music really is feckin' garbage. Sorry if I ever wrote it. Right, so easy way of choosing stuff. I'm going to select here. Do a. Where's my ring selection? Oh god, it's editable mesh, not editable poly. Convert to editable poly. Always work with editable poly. Okay, now I'm going to ring that. Control, select by polygon, and grow. There we go. That gives us this. Now I'm going to deselect these, so Alt and select. Making sure I've got that right. And that means I can now do this. Now, if I look at my left viewport and zoom, make sure everything's okay here, and it is. I'm just going to bring my handle in a bit. God, I hate this music so badly. Okay, I can't take this shit any longer. It's driving me crazy. Okay, so there's our handle pushed in a bit because it didn't need to be as far as it was. Okay, so I've often said this, it's all about just how we manipulate things, okay? Now, the latch that goes through this, we need a latch. So for this, what I'm going to do is I'm going to build a temporary table. So I do that just by dragging this out. And that way I've got a piece that's kind of at the right height that I can work at. I had auto grid turned on, which makes my job a little bit easier. Now, I want to have a look at an old-fashioned door catch. So I go to Google Images. Old door catch. Okay, just to see what we've got. Some really nice examples here actually, but I just want a standard press catch. I remember them when I was like little. You still see them occasionally on barn buildings. So, okay, I think I've got enough inspiration. Clunk, 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 clunk. Yeah, okay. So, oh my god, 7 viewers. Why are you all here? What are you doing? I'm not really playing a video game. I'm joking, maybe I am. Okay, so this bit here, it's going to be above here. So I'm going to get a cylinder and I'm going to just bring it out a little bit. Okay, now when it defaults in 3ds Max, it gives us 5 height segments, which is too many, and too many sides certainly for low poly work, which is what I'm doing at the moment. So let's just trim that down. Right click, convert to editable poly. Next, I need to get rid of my back-facing polygon, so I'm just going to grow this. Do a Control I and delete. I see I'm losing and gaining viewers by the ton at the minute. It's like, what's he doing? Why is he doing it? This is just a friendly place, you know. You're welcome to hang out here with me. That's the point of it. Okay, now I need to take this shape here, and I'm going to do an inset. Okay, now I'm going to scale it, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab some edges. So if I just grab these edges here and here, with many a thanks to my old pal Swirly Chicken who taught me this trick, and Ocknod who also taught me this trick nearly 20 years ago. But people still don't understand is that you can do this, which is surprising. Right, so all I'm doing is I'm basically making this little kind of slotted area here. Now I have a lot of screens, so bear with. There we are. I'm going to bring that into about there, because we need to give the impression, okay, that we have this kind of barrel area. Okay, now I'm going to get this edge here, and I'm going to chamfer it just a tiny bit. Bearing in mind the word tiny, we do not want a lot of beveling. Next I'm going to take this part and I'm going to extrude it in. Not by a great deal, just to about there, because I don't need to extrude it in a lot. Okay, just give the impression that it's dark in there, that's what I want. Next. Okay, so with that part there, now I can build my tilting bit. Okay, that's the complex name for it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a box, and if you've ever been to Granny's house you might remember these things, you see. I'm going to make a box here, not too long, about that far, and only as wide as it takes for it to just intersect there. Now it's tempting for me to come in and go, ooh, I'm going to heavily detail this, but there's no point. We won't get this close, okay? I mean, if I was working for, you know, one of the slave pits like EA or UB or something, maybe I would. Slave pits, my friends. But what I'm doing instead is I'm just kind of resizing it to here. By the way, if there's anyone, like I said, oh, someone said something. Right, hang on, sorry, I couldn't see you there, my old chum. Let's see, multi-stream doesn't say anything either. Hi, YouTube accidentally hit me with your stream, so what are you working on? Is there some bigger goal or just some assets? Well, thank you for asking. 11 people, Jesus. Well, what I'm doing is I'm creating a video game at the moment. I'll load it up in the background just while I'm doing this, okay? I'm a single person developer. I've been working in 3D now for well over 20 years, and because obviously I've been at home, we've all been at home, this is a good time for me to do some work on my own video game, which I've been doing. Now I'm going to avoid saying the words horror and Lovecraft because that drives people away real fast. But I'm working on kind of a thriller, and I'm trying to avoid it being a walking simulator. So what we have here is we have my island, okay, and this is Pandora's Rock out in the outer West Hebrides. The water, I'm not running the simulation at the minute, which is why it looks like it does. Okay, if I was running the simulation, it would actually look like water and waves, and I've got my lighting on simple. What I've done is I've built the entire world that I'm using, okay, which is 4 square kilometers. And what I've got to do is now I'm going into it and I'm finding the parts that I need to basically work on. So definitely things like doorways and stuff like that, and I'm fixing those up whilst I'm also working on the code that controls the players and things. Anyway, because I need doors, and doors are really important, we see doors all the time in games, it's important for me to make sure the doors look okay. Now this is an old kind of plate door. What that means is that you would operate it, it's got a handle that you pull, and it's got a little clicky thing on the top, and what that does is it pushes up a lever on the other side of the door, so you can pull it open. It's the most simple kind, and as such it's the most common kind, especially around the 1930s when this is based, for, you know, securing simple doors. Because if you're not British you won't have heard this, but it's like we had not worse stealing, you see, because, you know, all our houses are just full of broken furniture and shit, so they didn't have really complicated locks, and it's not like anyone was getting out to this bloody island. Anyway, thank you for the question. That was a really good one, and I appreciate it. Okay, so cylinder. I need to create a cylinder on this. So I'm just going to drag it out again. I'll just give it like a little minimum height here, and it isn't a heavy kind of height. And then I can just bring that out to there. Okay, and there we go. So we can see now we've got this, which is basically our little flip lever. And what will happen is it'll come all the way through and it'll just flip it up on the other side. And then down here all I need to do is create some sort of a kind of big key lock thing. Now none of these need to be animated at the minute, but what I'll do is I'm going to save off the file, and so later on, if I need to animate it, I can. Okay. Now the thing about game dev, like I say, is oh, hello new like Alexander. Thank you very much. So what I'm going to do is, like I say, I'm going to make this work. I'm going to get a rough kind of texture going inside of Unreal Engine. Inside of Quixel Mixer. And then once I've got my rough texture going, I'll probably take it back into Photoshop and do some tinkering in that as well. So just for the minute, I need to get this kind of working. So right click, convert to editable poly. So what I tend to use is I use this method that I call poly on poly, that I came up with many years ago, where I'm just basically adding more and more detail over the top and over the top and over the top. It's a bit like kit bashing, but you create your own parts at the same time. Now I just want to create a little keyhole here and do an extrude in, and the idea is we're just kind of giving the impression this is a keyhole, you see. Now that's a bit big. I mean, this would be one meaty flipping key if I was to use that. So what I'm going to do is just reduce the size of this just using the scale. There we go. Just put it directly under here. And the only reason I'm adding it to this is because it'll show up slightly better, especially once I start using rust and things like that. Now, the last thing I need to do will be over here on this side, I would imagine, and I'm going to put a box just down here. Okay, and that box would just indicate where the actual part that interfaces with the wall is. And if I just look at this, I need another box just about here. So, by the way, I love questions, so please do just keep them coming, okay? If you have a question and you're not sure about anything, you know where I am. Now then, let's just increase the length, reduce the height, there we are. Okay, and the idea is that it will give the impression of it being a working door, even if it ain't. Okay, that's cool. And I should probably have some sort of piece underneath that as well. So what I'm going to do is I'll use a cylinder. Just have it come back until it's inside the door there, and then I'll pull it forward. Okay, so now what we've got is we've got all these different shapes, and they're basically giving the impression that we have a functional working kind of door, and you'll see this more in a minute. Now I'm just going to Control I just to delete the back of this, and then I can raise these up a bit, and we can see that comes through there. It's just a simple lever action. So now what I can do is just turn this around. So I'm just going to Alt and drag, and don't worry about there being a mass of polygons. Okay, the polygon count isn't really a concern to me, not because, you know, splendid graphics card or anything, but simply because hard surface non-deforming, you know, they'll be fine. Now then, I'm going to just put that. Let's see, now I can cheat a little bit because it's very rare that people are going to see both sides of the door at once. So I'm going to put this here, and I can just offset its position slightly. Okay, so that goes up to there, and I think I would like a more solid piece going through just up here if I can, so I'll probably do that as well. So I'm going to just move some of these. This is what I do, by the way, okay? If you've, I mean, I've been doing 3D longer than some of you people have been born, to be honest, and a lot of it is tinkering. Right, I'm going to just shift and grab that and put it down to here. Yeah, an awful lot of it is tinkering. Remember when I was young and carefree and I used to call myself Max Master? God, such conceit. Convert to editable poly. Anyway, what I'm trying to do is I'm just trying to get it so that this looks like it should. Now this is the most important part when you're doing 3D. It sounds really weird, you know. It's like, oh, it should look like how it should. It should look like what it should look like. Yeah, sounds bizarre. I always tell this to students and things. I'm 52. That's a long time doing 3D. Hey, that's what I keep saying to people, man. You know, you should You should do it if you enjoy it. I first saw 3D for the first time, Jerry. Now I'm from England, obviously, as you can tell from my outrageous kind of accent. But I first actually saw 3D being used. They used to have like Christmas specials on, and they'd be like, "Look at this crazy stuff," kind of thing going on. You know, this is what the future is. And I remember like being so enthralled by it, and I wanted to do it. I actually wanted to be an architect, but unfortunately, you know, I'm quite colourblind, and there was no way I was going to be an architect at the time because you need to have a good knowledge of colours. So when I was, hello, no follower, good to have you aboard. When I was how old was I now? I think I was about 27, and I mean I'd worked in computers at that point quite a lot and had a horrible time doing it. You know, I was a COBOL programmer, and the opportunity came for me to, you know, would I like to try some 3D? And the answer was yes, I bloody well would. And so I took to it and loved it. There we go. Just delete. What I'm doing is I'm just deleting back-facing stuff. Thank you for following. Yes, absolutely, third officer. Hang on a second. I'm having a bit of difficulty just reading all the text. I don't know why, so I'm just going to try moving it over to the other side. Well, that didn't help much at all, did it? Let me do this instead. I've got a feeling... There we are. McGee Channel. Thanks, McGee. Much appreciated. Hello, Ulta. How are you? Yeah, I get what you're saying, McGee. The problem with 3D, like anything, is it gets overwhelming. Now, like I say, you know, come on back anytime you want. If you find you're busy, you know, you probably weren't expecting to find someone talking about 3D loads. But one of the things I really find that helps a great deal for me is, you know, you just take your time and think about it logically and slowly add to it. I mean, this door started off as a rectangle. If you want, in a minute, once I've done this, I'll go and look at some other stuff that I've done to kind of give you some ideas. But basically, it's all about starting simple and then adding to it and adding to it and adding to it. So, you know, just finding your happy place. I was very much kind of a follower of Bob Ross. Bless his little heart. Love Bob Ross to bits. And he really exemplified the idea of, you know, you should start simple and you can go on from there and make things more complicated if you need to. And that's how all his stuff worked. Okay, well, that's entirely up to you, young sir. You know, it's what you prefer using. Now, some people are going to say, oh, you should definitely use this engine, or you should definitely use that engine, or whatever. No, you should just use whatever makes you comfortable, whatever you feel that you're better at using. Some people really like Unity, and that is absolutely fine, you know. I had problems with the Unity interface just because, I mean, I am an old 3ds Max user. And so for me, I found the interface in Unreal Engine a lot easier for me to get a handle on, simply because what do you call it again? Yeah, I could use a lot of like the 3ds Max hotkeys, and the interface wasn't a complete kind of new thing to me. I was put on the beta for Unreal Engine 4 back when it was still Rocket. I was very lucky actually in that I was working with another game development team and we'd been given an early access license. This was before Unreal Engine 4 was actually free. And I'll do this manually. If your chamfers don't work, always do them manually. There we go. Just a little bit tweaking. There. And so I was very fortunate, like I say, in that I got to use Unreal Engine when it first came out, like 4.0 point whatever the hell it was. And the new versions, God, I love the new versions. But, like I say, if you are used to a different interface, or you prefer Unity, use Unity, because it's not about how good the engine is, it's about how good what you're making is, you know. There we go, that should be far enough. I don't want it to come out too far. Now over here I need to just put the lever that's going to operate over here on. See, so all we're doing is we're slowly thinking about the mechanical pieces that make everything up. So again, I'm just going to get a box. I'm going to bring this out to about here and then bring it wide. And I just bring it until it's around about the same width. You notice I'm not measuring anything. I'm quite lazy, and so I prefer doing this by eye wherever possible. Convert to editable poly. And I swear to God, I will make the worst unwrap map you have ever seen in just a minute, but it won't matter. Okay, you can spend ages and ages, like, you know, working on your unwraps, or you can basically do an automatic unwrap and pray for the best. I'm not doing organics, so I am not too concerned in that respect. Okay, just make sure this is coming over the edge here. I'm going to grow, Control I, and just get rid of that back facing polygon. We get rid of that back facing polygon because we do not want it. Okay, it's just a piece that we're never going to see. And then with this, I'm just going to angle it a little bit, and now you still see this kind of gate latch quite a lot in the UK in farms and things like that, and all that's happening is basically it's just coming through and pushing up this. Okay, it's a very, very simple kind of thing. So you can push down on this and it'll lift it up, or the latch on the other side will lift it up. Thank you very much, Walter. Good luck to you on learning. And I wish you the very best of fortune. If you want to come by and say hello anytime, you know where I am. And if you ever have a question, seriously just ask. Okay, so let's have a look. If I hit F4 now, I can see my door. I've got my latch. Now, I may want to have a keyhole on the other side. So what I'll do is I'll just grab this and do a shift and drag. I've already deleted. I probably will be. I haven't decided yet, to be honest. I've mentioned this before. I am a very lazy artist, and I'm going to use whatever works for me. So it depends. I'll show you what I am going to do to make texturing a lot easier. If you're curious, though, Nuik. Is that right, Nuik? I hope it is. Are you from France? Now, I'm going to just move that into there, because I'm old enough basically to remember when I used to have to do everything manually before there were all these newfangled exciting plugins. So I am going to use as much as I can to basically speed up my process. See, it looks like they match up even though they don't. Now, over here where this is, I don't like the idea of this just floating, so I need it to look like it's attached to my door. I am a sucker when it comes to this kind of thing. I absolutely hate things not looking like they should. So this is a hard surface thing. If you're an organic modeler, you feel the same way when you're, you know, modeling a particularly exciting thing, I'm sure. Right, so I'm going to turn this over. You notice I've got angle snap on, by the way. If I didn't, this would be a bloody nightmare. Remember all those years ago, I still remember the joy of discovering snap and angle snap. No problem, things happen, man. Yeah, the game is basically a thriller set on an island in the Western Hebrides. Now, if you look up on Google, I'm not going to at the minute because obviously I'm a little bit busy, but anyway, there was this, there still is, there's an island in the Outer Hebrides, beautiful place as well, and it's called St Kilda. Now, St Kilda is the westernmost part of the United Kingdom. It's like 100 and something kilometres off the coast in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean. You know, really inhospitable looking area. And it was basically abandoned because it was so inhospitable relatively recently. We're talking like about 100 years ago. Ah, bless you. I have someone want to post, want me to buy followers, look. Never buy followers from Russia. or China, or anywhere if you can help it. But, you know, it's nice that someone thinks that I might want to buy followers. To be honest, you know, it's hard enough keeping the followers that I've got interested in what I'm doing, because 3D is an art, and a lot of people have problems with that kind of thing. But nonetheless, good luck on finding people for your strange, almost certainly spam-filled website. Now, I'm going to add all these parts, because they don't need to move, so I'm just going to add them all to my actual piece. Except at the back. Now I'm going to save this, Control S, and I'm going to save this as, let me see, SM door wooden 2. So I'm going to save this as a second generation of my wooden door. I do like that the third officer tells people off, isn't that quite amusing? Right, now let's get these attached again. As you can see, there is a lot of parts. I'm going to hit F4, just make sure everything is connected, and it is. Groovy. Okay, so the next thing I need to do is I am going to do some materials onto this, and then I'm going to do some unwraps. Okay, so do it one way, not the other. So, first thing I need to do is I'm going to make one called wood. Then I'm going to create a second material. You notice I'm just using my slate editor, by the way. So let me see, wood, old metal, and I'll make a third one called shinier metal. Okay, so this is how you do some texturing really, really easily. Okay, I'm always happy to show this because it's massive cheating. You can tweak it later on, so it's really good fun. Now, I've got 3 materials here. The first main colour I'm going to use will be, let me see, not black certainly, but let's have red. Okay, so I've got red. The second colour I'm going to use is just making sure that no one's repeatedly spamming. I know you get put on a break from spamming if you're not careful. Okay, next one is going to be blue, so I'll put my blue in. And the last one will be green, and the reason being that way, you know, I've only got red, green, blue. By the way, you know, if anyone wants to, if anyone lurks here long enough and wants to help out, like, you know, blocking spam links, please feel free. Anyway, is that yellow or green? I don't know. I don't care either. I'm going to do it. Right. I've got a cat over there. It's a shame you can't see it on the camera. Time for some pop. Okay then, let's get this done. First things first, I need to basically choose the bits that are going to be different colours. So, I'm going to go into my elements and select everything. Okay, so Control A, everything is selected. Next, what I want to do is I'm going to deselect, just holding Alt and deselect the planks. Okay, because these are all wood. So anything that's wood, I'm now deselecting. Okay, because that's important. So these are all wood, and these have all been deselected. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to assign old metal to everything. Then I'm going to do a Control I, and I'm going to get this red one, and I'm going to assign that. So that's my wood. So old metal and wood is now assigned. Next, if I go down here, this plate needs to be a bit shinier. Okay, this one here. So I'm going to select that plate, this one, this one, this one. Okay, you'll notice I haven't actually attached that, so I'll have to go back and attach it. But I'm just choosing parts where I think, oops, a daisy, the metal should be a bit shinier. And let's see, I'm going to apply this shinier metal. Lonk. There we go. Okay, next, let's just check my attaches again, because I can see there's a couple that are not attached. There we go. And I shall go into here. So go my element, and I'm going to select this one and this one, and these will be a newer metal as well. Okay, so we've got old metal and new metal all combined. Yeah. Okay, so I'll keep all the bolts and things. I don't know, maybe I should make these newer metal. I'll see. What do you reckon? Do you think they should be newer metal? We don't know. That's all right. I think I'll keep them as older metal, because nails are more likely to be an older metal, but I will How about this? I'll select a couple just to kind of randomly. There we are, and I'll make those a new ML. Okay, so what we have here now are 3 base textures. Okay, red, green, and blue. Now, if I hit F4 and I'm going to come in, I can see that we have some creasing going on here. So I'm going to Control S, and I'm going to go into my smooth. Now I can smooth by group, I can do creases, but I'm not doing any subdivision. So it's kind of pointless, you know, going in and doing like edge creases and stuff if I'm not doing sub D. So what I can do instead is I can just, you know, mess around with these a bit. Now you'll notice it's affecting some parts and not the others. Okay, so let's just make sure that everything is collapsed, convert to editable poly. Hello! Correct. Well done. Sort of. What I'm going to do is I'm actually going to take it by a Quixel mixer, which you'll see in a minute. So I'm going to auto smooth this down. Now, I'm not getting a lot of smooth here, which is a little bit concerning. So I should have, yeah, it's certainly not smoothing those parts as much as I'd like. No, I didn't think I got any crease on there, but such is life. Anyway, 26.5 will be okay for what I need at the minute. Now then, are you prepared for horror unimaginable? I hope you are. Because I'm going to do a base unwrap. Now, it used to be that I'd spend hours and hours doing unwrapping. I'm not going to do that. Not when I can fix my unwraps later. So, here's all my unwraps. Okay, all piled on top of each other in a horrible, horrible mess. 3ds Max still can't do unwraps for toffee, frankly. Mapping, flatten. I'm going to change the flatten angle threshold to 58. Plop. Right, so that gives us more or less what I need. The good thing is, you see, that I don't mind if the bolts all look completely shitty as long as, sorry, pooey, as long as the rest of it looks okay. So I'm just making sure everything else is okay, and then we have borders. Now I can do some minor tweaks up here if I need to. Right, Control S. Thanks, Nino, that's very kind of you to say so. I've been doing videos for a very, very long time actually. I've got some really old 3ds Max ones that I kind of keep meaning to re-release because they're still very relevant. 3ds Max hasn't really changed since about 2.5. I'll get around to it. I've got about 1,500 hours, maybe 2,500 hours of videos that I need to put up. Jeez, so many. Anyway, I'll do it. I really need to hire an assistant. But skinflint. Anyway, what was I doing? Yes, so I've got this. Now what I need to do, you'll like this bit, is I'm going to get a light in my scene, and it's going to be a standard and it's going to be a skylight. Just pop it there. Now the reason I put a skylight in my scene is because if I hit F9 now, you'll notice that my light, when I hit render, is flat. I know that's a very small image render, so I'll hit F10 just to bring up my scanline render stuff, change my output size to HDTV and make it 1080. Very old-fashioned is 3ds Max. There we go. So now you can see, okay, completely flat light. Okay, perfect. Just what I want. It's basically, some people call them splat maps. Anyway, what I'm going to do, apart from rubbing my nose, oh dear me, is I am going to basically bake off this map. So if I hit 0, I get my render to texture. Okay, most 3D applications have this sort of thing now, so if you're using Blender or whatever, you'll probably find something similar. Don't ask me where it is. I don't know. Now, let me see, I'm using the existing channel. That way it doesn't unwrap it again, because it'll just do an even worse job than I did, rushing it like I did. Now I'm going to add a diffuse map and nothing else. I only need the diffuse map, and I'm baking it out at 2048 by 2048. Okay? Fingers crossed. Render. There we go. So this is now my 2048 by 2048 map. Okay, so it's power of 2, always really useful. I've got all these like really nice bits going on here. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to save it. So I'll press here, and I'm going to go into this folder that says SM Wooden Door 1, because that's where I'm working, and I'm going to call this SM Wooden Door ID, because it's a color ID map, and I'm going to save it as a target. Okay, target, very big file format, but lots of detail. Next, close this down, Control S, close that down. Yes, I want to save my changes. Always save. Nimir, if you have the time, always do it manually. If you can, do it manually, because the whole point is that you want basically as much space concentrated on the detail areas of your model as possible. Okay, I'm doing it in a rush way because I cheat a hell of a lot. If I had like someone who was working with me, I'd be passing them all of the unwrapping, to be quite honest, and a lot of the texturing, because I like doing the modelling part. But if you have the time, really take your time to unwrap. If you don't have a lot of time to unwrap, use auto unwrap for certain parts of it, but focus heavily on the large parts that receive a lot of light. Okay? Anyway, now to show you what I'm doing. So I'm going to go into my Photoshop. Which I refuse to pay for monthly. Right, and what is... Oh, it's just loaded the last thing I was working on. That's cute. Now then. There we go. I knew it would come out eventually. All comes out in the wash, doesn't it? Right, I'm going to move this over to here. Okay, so you can hopefully see what's going on. I don't know why it's being so crap, but it's refusing to allow me to change screen size, which is a little bit weird. There, that'll do. Right, so hopefully you'll be able to see what I'm doing. I don't know why it's not letting me change screen size, but there you go. Now I'm going to go to File, Open, and I'm on my desktop. So because I've got a very large hard disk drive, I tend to work on my desktop. I never used to until now. And here's my SM Wooden Door lid. There we are. Coming nice and close. And what I would like to do is, firstly, I'm going to select all of these. Okay, so I've just selected them using that tool. I'm going to use the eyedropper tool and make sure I've got this red here. And then I should be able to get my brush, make my brush nice and big, and I'm just going to work on putting the reds in, okay? Because this way I'll not end up with some horrible kind of black lines and things, okay? Because otherwise there'll be black lines in between stuff, and I really don't like that. There we go, see, so it's now a much more solid colour, makes things a bit easier for me. Make sure that's down there. Right, and Control D just to stop, Control S just to save it in. And now I can close that. So that's all I needed that for the moment. Next, let's get a Quixel Mixer. Now, if you've never used Quixel Mixer before, it's free. So make sure you get it, okay? Quixel is now owned by Unreal Engine, Epic Games. Now, you can see on my one that I have to download an update. I don't have the time for an update today. As you can see, I haven't had the time for an update for a little while. So, what I want to do is I'm going to delete this SM Wooden Door 1, because that was my old project. And instead, I'm going to create a new mix, which is going to be called SM Wooden Door 1. 2048 for the working resolution, because I'm using quite high reses for things like this. Now, what it does is it presents me with this plane that I can do like texture development on, but I want to develop texture directly onto the door. So if I go over here to my plane, load up my custom mesh, and I should have in, well, I haven't exported my wooden door yet, have I? Let's go to 3ds Max. See, you didn't remind me. Okay, let's get this loaded up. Good thing is I've got like 32 or 64 gigs of fairly decent Corsair Vengeance running through this thing, thank God. Because I stream and I teach people a lot online, I also have my 3 series NVIDIA card, thank goodness. It's not just for video games, although it does help. Pop time. Right then, let's go. So file, open recent, there it is there. And what I need to do is just make sure there's nothing else in my scene, which there isn't. Then we go to File, Export Selected. Take it into my thing here, and I'm going to call it SM Door Wooden 1. And I want to export it as an FBX file, so I'll click Save. Click OK. Some materials may not be supported by blah 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 blah, don't care. Right, so Mixer. So now you can see that we have SM Door Wooden here, which is the one that I want. And there it is, it's now loaded in. Okay. Good question, Crosswind. Good question. And thanks very much, Darn Ghost 2008. Much appreciated, man. Anyway, how you doing, Crosswind? By the way, your camper van is looking pretty darned epic. I'm really pleased with this door, you know, it's coming out really well. Okay, so under layers, you see here I've got this one that says material ID, so I'm going to open that up, click load, go to my SM wooden door, and there's my SM wooden door ID. So now I've got red, bright green, bright blue, blue, bright blue. Okay, there were different variations of blue, but we can work this. I can see you, cat. So the first thing I need to do is I need to assign some basics to this. So let's go to my local library, and I might have a smart material that's going to be useful for this. There we go, I've got 97 smart materials. Now, what I want is something antique wood. That works for me. Let's have a look at some antique wood. Now, the only thing I don't like about this antique wood is if you look, the grain is definitely going the wrong way. Alright, so let us get the grain on the antique wood. That's a wood base here. Check its placement, and I'm just going to change its angle. And I'll do that, I think, probably for everything on here. So I'll change the colour variation angle, the darken grain. All I'm doing is I'm just basically pulling everything over. So it's at 90 degrees to what it was. It looks a lot better when it's being moved. There we go, so now the wood's kind of facing in the right direction. Nice and chaotic as well, so I love that. I can probably increase or decrease the scale of the wood if I need to. I think about there will do it. Coolio. Alright then. Next thing I need to do. Yeah. So if I come out of this, my wood is definitely a wood colour, which is making me very, very happy. I'm not going to paint it. I was going to put paint over, and I might later on, but for the minute, let's just do this. So I'm going to close down my antique wood layer, and I'm going to call this door wood base, just so I know what it is. Next, I want to add metal for some of the other bits. So let's add a surface layer. And again, I'm going to use a smart material on this. Let's come down. Now I've got some worn black. I think I'm going to use worn black metal on some of the screws. Now, red painted, polished old. I know I've got a really good looking rusty old metal. Heavy rust. With a bit of moss. There we go. Now, this will go everywhere. It's like, poof. Okay, and we don't want it to go everywhere. If the stream starts getting choppy, Mixer is a very processor intensive system, just out of interest. Right, so we can see what it's done is it's put this rust over the top like that, okay, and we didn't really want it to do that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to right click and add an ID mask, and now I can choose just to have the metal where I want it. So if I select the green, or I think in this case it was the blues, there we go. So now the old metal is only going on there, like that, yeah? Okay, now let's add another base layer. So in this one, I'm going to add, I need a slightly shinier, so let's have brushed steel. So the entire door is going to go shiny as hell now. And with my brushed steel, if I go into my ID mask and just choose my green, you can now see that we've got these much shinier plates. Now, let's come in a bit close, because we can also see a couple of problems in that we have, well, apart from this, which I can fix, you know, the whole fix and post thing, we can do that. But what I'm going to do is, with my brushed steel, if I click on it, I can stop unwrapping it to my underlying as much on that. And with my heavier rust, if I just go in there, yeah, that's okay. Okay, so it's bringing enough variation and enough shine that I'm okay with it. Let's come back a little bit. Handle's got some lovely rust on it. Now, the next thing I need to do is making sure that they're all okay. I'm going to add a decal atlas. So if I go into here, I'm going to get some leakage. Can't go wrong with a bit of leakage. And what I need to do is just change the angle of my leakage and its scale. Okay, so we get this mess coming in from the top, just beautifully kind of infecting the rest of the door there. Now, one of the things I will be doing is making a couple of variations of the texture of this. So if I go over to my decal layer and I want to go online, and there was a number 8, there it is there, the number 8, which I really quite like, so I'm going to download that. Now I'm already logged in. I should point out to you the Quixel Mixer is free as well. If you're using Unreal Engine, it's free, and all the assets are free. Okay, so, well, it depends, Crosswind. I mean, you know, Quixel Mixer is good, but I don't have, you know, that ability you have to basically spray particles to make wear tracks and things like that. That's one of the things I miss that I'm really hoping comes through into this. I do like Substance. I was thinking of actually buying Substance again last night, but I'll see. I'll see. Right, I think the 8's downloaded, so I'll go to my local library, grab the 8, and there it is there. Now I'm going to change it to freeform, and I want to get it nice and small. And I'm going to offset it up. Okay, so I'm going to put it to about there. Now I can put the leakage on top of it. There we go. So that gives an interesting shape to it. So now I've got 2 variations of that, which is a help. Okay, so that's just something that Amanda had asked me for, so I'm like, yeah, no problem. Alright, that's looking good. So I'm going to do Control S, and I'm going to save this as SM Wooden Door 1. So that is saved. Next. I've got 2 things that I need to do. I need to make a really basic wooden door frame as well, so bear with. Okay, so blah blah blah, that's done. Boom, 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 boom. What next? Yeah, that's probably done. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to click Export, and I'm going to export it into this folder that says, well, it'll be exported into a folder that says SM Wooden Door. I'm going to add the resolution of the file names. I'm not going to export diffuse, so albedo, diffuse, specular I'll keep, glossiness. Yeah, okay, I'll have glossiness, roughness, normal, displacement, ambient occlusion, and metalness. Okay, so I'm basically taking everything except displacement, because I don't want a 50 megabyte displacement file. I'm not using displacement because I'm making mid-polys. If I was making the door and it was only going to be like 8 polygons or something, then yeah, I'd use displacement, but no. Because having more polygons and not using displacement makes Unreal Engine quicker than having low polygons and using loads of displacement. Okay, export. This takes forever. Oh, it's done. Right. Good GPU makes all the bloody difference. Next, 3ds Max. So, Crosswind, me old buddy, I'm going to make a door frame now. And then I'll show you how this works, okay? Because I'm actually going to put it together. So, we might be here for another... For anyone who's just like, you know, having fun, watching and just chilling out, join us, man. I'm not going to make you do any homework. and I'm not going to charge you any money, okay? It's all about enjoying ourselves, being artists, you know. Okay, so I want to go to File, Open Recent, and let's see, door development. Let's have a look at that. Continue. Yeah. Unhide all. Brilliant. So this is my door development area. Okay, this is where I've got like bits for making metal doors and all that kind of guff. Now I'm going to get rid of some of these bits just while I'm getting started here, because I need to work on a door frame, and the door frame's easy. Okay, a door frame's just this shape, as you can probably imagine. Let's get rid of this door, and I'll get rid of this door handle. Control S. Oh, never mind, it doesn't matter. File, save as door frame. So SM underscore door frame underscore, well, SM door frame 1. Okay, so that's what it's going to be called. SM because it's a static mesh. It's just for my own recognisance so that I know what it is. Now, this is far too elaborate for like basically a trashy little wooden door being, isn't it? This is no good for us. So what we need to do is we need to make something that is going to be more suitable to our needs. Now, if I come back in, I just want to unhide everything just for a minute. There's an easy way of me doing this. I'm going to save this as this door development 2. Yeah, good. So save as again. I'm going to save it as the file I'm just using. So SM door frame 1. Okay. Now what I need to do is I'm going to get this door frame and this base door that I built here. Okay. I'm going to connect the two together. So plop. Okay, just so it's in the middle. Now, if I get rid of this door handle and all this other nonsense that's hanging around here. Oh my god, yeah, Quixel's library is just absolutely fantastic. I mean, Teddy Bergman and his team are just legends, in my opinion, you know. Right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to move the old door frame back because I need to keep that as a size reference. And what I'm interested in is basically building something from this. Okay, so I'm going to, let me see, well the first thing, let's move this back. Okay, because I need this in the middle. And I want to make sure it's sharing a pivot with this. So click on here and I'm going to go to Effect Pivot Only. I'm going to press this, which is my align button, and I'm going to align it with that. Okay, that way my pivot is now correct. Next, I'm going to take this and move it back, and now I've got some size that I can go from. So what I'm going to do is, using my SM door template, let's get rid of this bit for Houdini. Take that, and do Control I just to delete it. Why have I done that, you may be asking? Because, honestly. So Control A just to select everything, and I'm going to flip. And now I've got everything I need basically to get started. So let me see. First things first, I'm going to just double click here, stretch it this way, double click here, stretch it that way. Now we know that it's symmetrical, so let's make our job a tiny bit easier. So I'm going to just go straight through the middle here and do a connect, and then I'm going to delete everything over here. Goodbye. Okay, so now I only need to work on one side. Now I need to make sure I get my height right, so I'm going to just go here to here, hold shift and drag that up. Remember I said this should be a really basic shape, okay, because it's just a very basic door frame. Now I'm going to hit bridge, there we are, and now if I only want to expand out certain parts here, so I'm just carefully selecting these, hold shift, and I'm going to drag. Okay, and now we get this shape. Again, it's all just part of our really basic door frame, okay? Now, let me see, I'm going to what am I going to do? I've forgotten. Oh yeah, hinge from edge. No, bridge. Put that to there, that to there. There we go, and making sure this is the right size, and it is beautiful. Next, bring this down just a little bit, and now we start getting this kind of rising side here. So I'm going to select both of these and raise them up, because I like the idea that we've still got a little bit of a shape here. Yeah. Next, come out, and I'm going to get rid of this because it is not what I need now. I need this. Okay, next I'm going to use some symmetry. Fantastic, fantastic tool, symmetry. Click flip, and here's a teeny space in the middle there, but that's okay, we'll fix that in a minute. Convert to editable poly. Right, so how do we fix this? Oh no. Well, there is a way, an easy way. What I'll do is I'll just select all the verts here, and I'm just going to go to my weld tool, which should be here, and I'll just increase my threshold just a teeny bit, and now they're all welded together. Yay. And then exactly the middle, because they weld to the middle. Nearly broke my finger doing that. That was good. Okay, I'm getting quite into modelling now. You can always tell because I'm getting kind of a little bit animated on it. Now I want to differentiate the top of our area here, which is this. So I'm just going to increase them in their extrudes. Doesn't need to be a lot. There we go, and that's done. Okay, so now what we have is we have this really basic kind of lintel and door frame, but it needs to be basic. Okay, the door's the important part, the door frame not quite so. Now, as long as it's wide enough to basically stick through the wall, that's all that matters. So I'm going to do a Control S, and with this one I can do an unwrap without feeling even remotely bad, because I know the unwrap's going to be fine. So open UVW. I don't need any smooths because everything's just a sharp corner. Let me see, so if I go Control A, and then Tools, Mapping, Flatten, blah, done. See? Just a load of basic shapes. Because sometimes that's all we are, basic shapes. Next, I am going to just collapse this. And hopefully this should export okay. If not, I know what the problem is. So export selected, and I'm going to export it as, if I go into the wiki, SM door frame. So SM, static mesh. Oops, didn't type in the right area. SM underscore door frame 1, because that's what it is. And hit return. Click OK. Right, see this? Yeah, error has occurred. I know why the error has occurred as well. So, you know, good times. Thankfully, if you get that error, I'll show you how to fix it. Sometimes you get an error where a model won't export. Maybe it's referencing something that doesn't exist or whatever, okay? And then what it tries to do is export it with all these references that just don't exist. So I'll show you how we fix that. Quick way of fixing it as well. Works with most applications. Trust me. If you're still watching, you know, most of the tools that you use in 3D didn't exist when I started. It was like me and Pete Draper and all the other flipping, you know, veterans of 3D. Right, so there, we've got a couple of things here that don't exist that it wants. So what I'm going to do is take this file, export. I'm going to export it as a much simpler format for the time being. So if I go into my wiki part here, and I'm going to export it just as an OBJ. Never find it. There we go. And I'm going to call it temp. Done. Okay, so it's exported that, and it didn't have a problem with it. Now, file, reset. Don't save. Yes, I want to reset. File, import. Now, if I go back to where I was and import the OBJ, which I think is back one more. There it is, temp. SM door plate, 92 faces. Oof. There it is there. Okay. And now I can go to File, Export Selected. And I'm going to export my selected as well. Let's go back to... By the way, yes, I can talk a lot and will. So SM door frame 1. Okay, okay, done. See? So now it worked. Close that. No, I'm not going to save. Off you go, off you go. Go away. Right. Next. File, save. Now this door here is unwrapped, but it doesn't have any ID maps, okay, the door frame. So let's make a new mix. SM door frame. And what I've started doing is calling them the same name as the mesh resources that I'm using. Custom mesh. And this is SM door frame 1. I'll just move this SM door wooden in here. There we go. So SM door frame 1. There it is there. Okay, lovely. Now, I can block in some areas here, which is what I'm going to do, because otherwise it's going to look weird. So, layers, local library, search for all types and brick. Do I not have any brick? Well, that's not good. Let's go online and find a brick. Do circus. I'm determined not to rush, by the way, you know, so I'm just taking my time. There we go, brick. One brick facade, that'll do. Download. There's some beautiful models here, look at that. Modular building doors. Absolutely lovely. I might use some of these at some point actually, because I think they're absolutely gorgeous. These rotten old windows and things. I love the fact they've got them scan those, because it makes it so much easier to put things together. Right, so this is downloading. What did you do this afternoon, darling? Well, I watched an English guy download textures of bricks. We're getting a divorce, honey. I know, sweetie. Need more pop. Ooh. Right then. God. Okay, it's downloaded. Local library. Alright, so this may or may not work, so we'll have to see. And in fact, before it does bloody work, I should close this down as well. There we go. Right, so click on this. It should stick bricks on everything. It stuck bricks on everything, just not very well. Oh, I see what's happened. That's very curious. Okay, well, I'm gonna delete that. By the way, mistakes do happen, and you'll get to see me make a lot of them. I'm never ashamed of mistakes. That was me. I think this is an editable mesh. Of course it is. It's bloody editable mesh. Silly old me. Right. Let's see. SM door frame. Continue. That is there. Right. So what I need to do is go to File, Import. And I'm going to bring in this temporary file here. Not going to import any of those. There we go. Right, now let's have a look at this. Firstly, it's an editable mesh, which I don't want. So right click, convert to editable poly. Secondly, it's been over smooth, so let's go to smooth. Rancid, horrible looking bloody thing. Make sure there's no hidden geometry. No, it's not the UVs, Nick. Well, exactly, Nimir. It is very much part of it. Cat, are you cleaning your bottom in front of my desk? God almighty. I'll try and get another webcam so you can see the cat sleeping on my desk while I teach, just for added annoyance. I'm pretty sure I can run 2 cameras on. Anyway, what was I doing? Oh yeah, this. So, Control A. Let's see. This is just really damaged, this model. This is not a happy model at all. File. Open recent. Let's go back to SM door frame. Continue. Right. File. Export. Selected. Wiki. Temp. Now, I don't want to export any materials or anything with this one. So, embed media. No, that's turned off. Cancel. Such aggravation. Reset. Don't save. Considering what an easy model this is, you'd think this would be like, you know, relatively easy, but no. Merge. Oh, that cheese I had was horrible as well. I'm not impressed. Okay, that's what it was. It was trying to import the LOD002. So let's import just the door frame. There we go. That looks a bit better for what I need. Next, if I export just this, so file, export selected, and I'm going to call it SM door frame 01. See, it's going to crash again. It doesn't want to export just the bloody door frame. I think it's going to be easier if I just literally build the door frame from scratch, unfortunately. So, there we go. Yeah, I could do that actually. I don't know. I think I'll just build it separately because the thing is, initially my actual base was using a door model that it was a very basic door model that another artist had done so that I could get the scale that I wanted right, and I've got a feeling there's a little bit left over from that. So what's going to be easier, I think, for me is just to kind of not do that. So file, import. So I'm going to go back to my wiki folder and I'm going to import my, well, let's see, my SM wooden door. Here we are. I'll just import that just so I can get a size for the frame, really. Yeah. Okay, let's go to door development, don't save. That's the problem, is that you get so much crap, unfortunately, comes into your files when you are doing this, and frankly, you know, when you just can't be bothered with it. So I think I'm going to start something completely from scratch. Okay, so what I need to do is just make a box that is the correct height. There we go. A little bit less. There, that looks about right. Got the bit right in the middle here, so I'm going to align that to there. Okay. And I'm going to take this. I'm just going to. This is actually my door. Sometimes you see, you just get stuck on an idea, and it's like, well, I'm going to need to do it this way. Okay, take that there. So I've got 2 copies of my door. Bring that back to there. Unhide all. Okay, and inside here there should be also a door, which I don't want, and a door handle, which I don't want. Now I've just got these. Fab. Okay, and they're in the right place. Yes. Right. Next, file, save as. Workbench. Now I know what I'm doing. Now I know that's going to be in the middle, so increase the length just a teeny bit. There we are. Go to editable poly. Select it all. And flip. There we go. Now we get rid of those internal polygons that I don't need. Like that. And I'll just select this edge here. There we are. What I can do is I can just do it shift and scale like that. Go to my front viewport. I'm sure there are lots of artists at the minute, if you're watching this, going, what are you doing? Why? Why? Because sometimes, you know, these methods are quicker and better and give you ideas. That's why. Right, that seems okay. Next, what I need really is to kind of flush it at the top here. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to take off this bit, and then I've just got these vertices. I imagine you're sitting there going, what's he doing? Does he even know how 3D works? Yes, thankfully. Turn off grid. I don't tend to use a lot of hotkeys, incidentally. I use a few, but I prefer taking the time to find the tool so that I can think about what I'm doing. Just in case you're wondering why I do things a certain way. There we go, that will do. Now I'm going to flatten those completely. I'll just use the scale tool. Hit F4 so I can see what I'm doing a bit better. Right. Next. Oh no, that sounded disturbingly like Fred Durst, didn't it? Right. I wear a red hat. Okay, next. Let's get some bridging going. What would you be watching if I was? What should I be watching if I was able to actually, you know, watch things on my other monitor without my stream being closed down for piracy, or whatever it is, copyright infringement? What would I be listening to? I don't know, actually. I'll tell you what I do listen to a lot is David Lynch's music. I don't know what it is about David Lynch and his music, but I absolutely love the stuff. The guy is crazier than a shithouse rat, but in a good way. I do like David Lynch. Okay, so I'm going to bridge across here. How long have I been up for? Wow, 1 hour 18, cool. Okay, let's connect all these together. For the people who were expecting Game Dev Tycoon, by the way, okay, this is technically Game Dev Tycoon, but this is the hardcore edition, where you're actually trying to make a living from it, rather than just playing the game itself. Move that to about there, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to just double click it, just to get the loop, and then I can chamfer it, just to give me this shape here. Okay, so we get this kind of more square lintel. Okay, lintel important, V important. Next, let's just do this. Now I want to avoid adding trim where I can, because trim is important, but I can do a lot of that using textures. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to extrude that shape there, and it just basically makes it look like we've got this much more solid shape. Yeah. So that comes out over the top there. So now basically the lintel's being supported by these heavy brick pillars. Now like I say, I was kind of rushing it before, and I shouldn't really rush. I was like, oh, I'll just make this door frame quickly, and of course forgot that you should spend as much time on the lesser detail as you do on the bigger detail sometimes, especially if it's something important like this. Now, Control A just to select all its faces, checking them over, making sure they were okay, and they were. So I'm going to do an unwrap, and with everything selected, go to my UV editor, in your own time, love. There we go, prepare for the least complicated unwrapping operation of all time. There we are, and these are all facing roughly the right way because these are the brick pillars and these are important to me, so that's great. Okay, because up down means I can do bricks. Yeah, I do, Jamoto, sorry about that, although technically I am, as I just said to someone else, being a game dev tycoon. And Darned Ghost, I know what you mean. I do that all the time, which is one of the reasons why I tend to do things the long way. I'm so used to reaching for the hotkeys. I mean, you know, I'll always try and use the 3ds Max navigation tools inside of Unreal Engine and so on. Okay, now I'm going to do what I did last time, okay, which is basically break this up into 2 colours. So I'm going to attach that to there, hit M, and my first colour is going to be, well, here we go, I'll have red. There we are. Okay, and assign that to there, do a Control I, and then my next colour, I could literally use this grey, but I'm not going to, so I'm going to make it blue. Blue, 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 blue. So now we've got red and blue. And the reason I've chosen those is because the two are basically great contrasts. And like I say, Jamoto, I am doing game dev. It's just real game dev takes longer than just clicking on the computer, unfortunately, that you want to make an RPG. Oh, there we go. Now I'm going to add a standard skylight there. Select this, hit 0. I already have my unwraps, so I'm going to add a diffuse map, and I'm going to make it 2048 by, and just click render. Oh, hello new follower Jamoto9721. Thank you for following. We love you. Okay, so let's continue. And now you will see, again, that we have this solid block colour here, okay? Brilliant, that's what I needed, because obviously I'm going to be using bricks and things. So, save image, and for this one I'm going to, let me see, go into my wiki folder, SM Wooden Door 1, yeah, that's all there, cool. So, let's see, right click, new folder, SM underscore door frame 1, okay? So that's the new folder, and I'm going to save this as SM door frame ID 1 ID. There we go. Target. And I want to change all this black to red, so Photoshop. And I'm using really fast SSDs, just in case you're wondering. It's like M2 SSDs all the way, baby. Right, SM door frame. I'm not boasting, I'm just saying, like, you know, if you can get them, use the damn things. Okay, now I'm going to use my eyedropper tool and my brush tool and just do that. Really basic, really works. Okay, everything's red. Okay, so Control S and close my window again. Okay, and I'm going to save as so this was SM door frame 1, so I'll save that. And I'm going to export this. File, export, selected. Okay, next. So SM Wooden Door 1 is what this should be. No, shit, nearly. Oh. I bet you were like clutching at the screen there. Don't overwrite it, Chris. SM door frame 1. What was I thinking? Okay. Some materials in this scene, blah 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 blah. Don't care. Right, so that goes away. Quixel mixer, file, new mix. SM door frame 1. Okay. No. Custom mesh. And let's pull this in. There we go. See, that now looks like a door frame rather than some sort of, well, it doesn't look like a door frame, but we'll make it look like a door frame. Layers. Let's get some IDs in. Load. SM door frame 1. There it is. So we've got red and bright blue. Let's add a layer. Let's get this brick in. Right, firstly we can see the bricks going the wrong way. Now it isn't. Next we can see the bricks the wrong scale. So what I want to do is just adjust that a little bit, and now it isn't. And next I want to, let me see, add an ID mask, and that's going to be red, because the brick's only on the red. Okay, so that's kind of working. And we can see that the bricks are actually flowing properly, which is nice. I just want to make sure that we don't have these weird edges, so I'm just going to come in here and just adjust my scale a teeny bit. There, okay, just so that basically the bricks are going right to the edge wherever possible. Okay, it's little things that you're probably not going to notice, but I'll notice and it'll make me sad. Okay, next I want to make another basic one, so I'm going to stick brick facade into a group. Okay, so I can open that up, and this group will be called brickwork. Close that down again, and then I need to add a surface layer, which is basically just going to be cement or concrete. Here we are. So we have a kind of a smooth concrete here. That'll go over everything at first. So right click, add ID mask, and that will be my blue. Okay, so now we have these two kinds of concrete here. Okay, really nice and basic. Now I'm going to go to my albedo, just maybe lighten this up a little bit because it's a little bit dark and I don't want that kind of yellowy chipping colour. Okay, I don't want to use any displacement, so I'm making sure my displacement is turned off. My pillar arches look okay, so I'm going to put this inside of a lintel group now. Right, next, under brickwork. So I can save this now. Call it SM door frame 1, saved. And I'm going to make a basic paint layer to kind of go over the top of this brickwork. So I'll open that up, and I'm going to add a surface layer. And for this I want plaster, really, because then I'll get this kind of exciting worn plaster going on. There we are. So I can put this over the top of that. Okay, you notice it gives us this really nice kind of layering, which is what I wanted. Now I could use opacity mask. Let me just make sure that this is using the same red ID mask. Okay, because that's important. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in, right click, and add a mask stack to it. And in this I'm going to add a curvature mask, and I'm going to change it to edges and cavities, and I'll invert it, and then I can just start messing with the levels if I need to, just so that the bricks have got some paint on. Okay, so nice bit worn paint going on there. What else? Right, well, I could probably do with some sort of a white paint up here as well, because they always whitewash things, don't they? So if I go up to my lintel, open that up, and I'm going to add the same, basically chipped plaster wall, just so it looks like we put plaster over the top of this, which is like, it'd be a thick water whitewash compound, you see. Right click, add ID mask, and I'll change that to the bright blue. Okay, now what I can do is I can turn off wrapping underlying if I need to, so I'll make that about half. I can also change my, thing that I was using there, so that's good. Okay, so now I've got some base kind of brick going on here. This looks very 1970s, incidentally, just in case you were wondering. Now the bricks are too small, I think. That looks a little bit more like it. Oh, no, lost it again. It's quite hard to do this by eye. There we are, so that's not bad. Now I'm going to go back into this chipped plaster and check its levels again. Because I am there. Just want to adjust it a little bit. Next, I want to add some dirt. So if I come back into my brickwork, over here I'm going to add an atlas. A lot of the time I'll use the same atlas over and over again, because if it works, why the hell shouldn't we? So here we go. Oh, wrong one. I need the leakage one. And I'm going to scale that. Now, I'm going to be careful with this. I can use box projection or I can use freeform. Just want to try and get it into the right place for using the freeform. It looks like it's upside down at the minute as well, doesn't it? I think it is. So I'm going to turn it up by just using the rotate. There we are. Okay, just adds a nice little bit of worn to the top there. Now at the top where our chipped plaster is, I'd like a little bit of dirt up here as well. So I'm going to add some more leakage. And I'm just using the same one because it makes sense for me just to use the same one really. Now what I'll do with this is I'm going to constrain it using an ID mask to my bright blue. Okay, so that way we don't get too much. Now another thing I can do if I want to is I could also add like facades and things like that. I'll see how I feel about that because they're not as impressive as you may think sometimes. Here we are, so here's a Roman marble relief for example. And let's just scale it in a bit and change this to freeform. I'm just trying to demonstrate. I'm probably not going to use this one. I just quite liked the idea of sticking it in for you to have a look at. It is quite fun working with these, but it's also a little bit tricky at times. So just in case you're wondering. I think I've lost it now, you see. Oh, there it is. So what I can do is just put that in the middle. Adjust the rotation. So you can have like literally carved stone reliefs, which is really nice. Oh, is there a science and technology section, Jimota? I had no idea. I'll have a look at that, thank you. That's actually really helpful. Why is that Roman mural not changing size or anything? Oh shit, I'm using the wrong tool. I was using the radius, not the scale. So there we go, so I can literally like pop it into there. Okay, so there you go. You see, if you want to like do this kind of thing, we can do it using that. Anyway, I'm going to turn this off. Or put it under the leakage actually. Let's see. Ooh, it's not bad under the leakage, is it? It's like someone's just stolen a piece of ornate stonework and just like smashed it into a lintel, which I think is quite cute. Let's change the opacity on it a bit. There, I like the idea that it's been carved stone and you can't see what it is anymore. It loses a lot of its definition, which is great. Okay, so I am going to export this. In a minute we'll be going into Unreal Engine at last. Won't that be good? Anyway, SM door frame, so I want a normal, a displacement, I don't want a diffuse, specular, I'll have the glossiness for the minute. I'll take the mess at that. I'm not having displacement because I'm not using displacement mapping. Export 7 maps. Off you go. Okay, so now if I just do a Control S, and that should be saved. Gone. Okay, let's go to the Epic Games Launcher. Now, I'm working in my main template I use for the wiki that I've been working on. So I'm going to open that up once I've patted the cat. There we go. What shirt's this? Oh, Guardians of the Galaxy. Cool. Yar. And Jamoto, I will definitely try and put this in the right section. Right, library. Pop. Okay, workbench, HE, wiki. That's the one I'm working on. It'll take a moment to load because it's quite a big file. At the minute, my development file's probably about 16 gigs. I don't keep my main working file on my C drive, so this one's over on my development drive, which is also an SSD, but obviously there is time needed to interface between that SSD and my main one. Okay, so I'm going to go to my workbench level. Pop. There we go. I've been doing some experimenting in here with skies and stuff, which file looks like this. Now, here is my metal door that I was working on that came out pretty nicely. I was pleased with that. So, let's go to SM wooden door, and I'm going to, let me see, import. Import to. And, well, go to the wiki. SM wooden door, here we are. So, I've got my SM wooden door 1. Here and here. Now, which one's which? That'll be the one that was most recent. So this is accessed at 1 minute past 3. Accessed at 3:52. So it's probably that one. Let's have a look. Import. So if I double click on it. Oh, nice. So let's bring this over here because I'm working with 2 4K screens, so everything goes everywhere. So there we go. Yeah, that's okay. I'm definitely feeling it. I want to make sure the latch is there, and it is, and the bar latch on the back, and that is. So great. Okay, so save. It's already got a collision in place. If I just click there, you can see, and it's around the right size for what I need. I didn't bother putting any hinges in, because I didn't feel visually I needed any. Now I'm going to move that over there. Okay, now I'm going to import again. And I'm going to not bother with my ID maps, I want my albedo. Now anything that actually has content, and they all do, so let's take them all. Putting together materials, a basic, non-instanced material in Unreal Engine is super easy. So I'm going to right click, make a new material, and I'm going to call this matte wooden door. Okay, just so I know what it is. So this is the material for wooden door 1. I'll open it and we get our node graph. Okay, now I'll keep the node graph. If I wasn't streaming, I'd have this opened up in another window, but I'll keep it on this one for you. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to SM wooden door 1 just here and just drag that into my base color. There we are. Next I need this, which is my ambient occlusion, and these are all 2K maps, remember. These are all like 2048s. Okay, I could have made them smaller, but I really didn't want to. Now I've got this one, which is my nettleness. Reason being that people look at doors a lot. Okay, so we can get away with lower detail for some things, but for doors I prefer not to. Here's my specular texture. And what else haven't got? Well, we haven't got normal. Let's put some normal in. There we are. And what else? So we've got roughness. Yep, roughness needs to go in. So there we go. Hang on, is this roughness? No, it's meltness. That's specular. Great, so I've got them all in the right place. So here you go, roughness. Okay, I mean, if I was creating like a complex procedural material, then obviously this would just be maths functions and stuff, which is great. I love doing those ones. But we're not. Game dev deeds. Okay, so let's load up our SM door wooden and just apply its material. Nice, a little bit dark, but not bad. You know, once the light's shining on it, I like the fact that we've got like a couple of really shiny nails and things like that. So it always looks wrong at first because we haven't actually carefully lit the model, so it's just like dark. Okay, save. Next, let's go back to door assets, and I want SM door frame 1. So new folder. Like that. And I am going to add or import. And we should have SM door frame. There we are. Now make sure that all these need to be used. Specular solid. Let me just preview that. Yep, specular solid, so I don't need a value in that. And metalness is also solid, so I don't need that one. So we'll have roughness normal. Don't know about gloss. Nah, sod it. I mean occlusion and the SM door frame. There they come. Done. Okay, so new material, and that is matte door frame 1. Control S and open. And we want this one, which is the albedo. Like, I always prefer using the albedo. We have the ambient occlusion. I've seen some really messy ones where people have only had like 3 maps and they've just made a mess of the nodes with that, and it drives me crazy. I always tidy up my nodes when I'm finished, and so should you. Okay, so next, let's bring these down to here. The thing is, even if you're working on things on your own, you know, sometimes you're not going to remember where things went. So, okay, I need to press 1 and click twice. And this one goes into metallic. It's got a value of 0, non-metal. And this one goes into specular and has a mid-range value of 0.5 because it's mid-range grey. And save. Done. Next, let's open up this SM door frame. And if we look at the collision is wrong. So collision remove. Collision add box simplified. Why? Well, we need to be able to go through our door, don't we? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure there's no snaps on our scale. And then I am going to do this. Very quick and easy way of getting a collision. And if you're going, that's really messy, just remember this works. Okay, so wise words of Terry Pratchett. Okay, to understand a man, you should always spend a day in his shoes. Benefit of that being, 1, you understand them better, and 2, you now have their shoes. Right. Okay, save. Next, I'm going to bring across my mat. There we go. And that's nice because the brickwork obviously makes a nice kind of juxtaposition to what we had before. So I'll save all these. And let's pull across my blueprint I'm using. So Alt and drag. Okay, so this is my door blueprint, and I've got a lot of functionality in here. So my door frame already has material on, which will make things easier. So I'll drag my door frame to there. And then if I come back into this and get my actual wooden door, put it there. Let's check. My wooden door seems to be offset a little bit, which is a teeny weeny bit concerning. It shouldn't be that far forward. Never mind, I can fix that. So let me see, I'm going to put that into there. And SM door frame, I'll put into there. Now, if I just get my inherited door model, I'll just move it forward a little bit. There we go, makes things a bit easier for me. Click play. bit more tweaking on this. Play from here. I can adjust the angle the door opens to, but I don't want it going all the way through there. So let's see. Open that up. Edit blueprint. Okay, so open angle. So expose that. Okay, so now I should be able to adjust the opening angle of this door to maybe 80 degrees. Let's try that. Perfect. Excellent. And this one will maintain its, let's see, that one jams after use, so I forgot it's set to jam after use, whereas this one doesn't. Brilliant. Right then, so, where were we? So, my dear new chums, it's been lovely having you here with me. Been an honour, and thank you very much for watching. I know there's some parts that you may or may not have fully understood. I'll be streaming again tomorrow. I'm not sure what time. I just try and stream whenever I've got a bit of time. So usually for me that can be either 11 o'clock in the morning UK time, or 1 o'clock in the afternoon UK time, or even in the evening if I don't have any audio on. Thank you, Mia. I really appreciate you saying that. That's very kind of you. Anyway, I really hope to see you guys again, and I do have a Discord channel. So if you go to, let's see, you'll find the Discord channel a lot easier if you go to cgpirates.com. Now, I very carefully don't put any advertising on CG Pirates. I know Twitch stuffs it in its videos anyway, but there shouldn't be any advertising on CG Pirates. I'm not going to try and make you buy anything or anything like that. So if you go there, you'll find the Discord link. You're fully welcome to come into our channel and hang out. We have a very helpful little community where, you know, we'll do whatever. Now, in the meantime, again, I hope you have a great weekend and a great Sunday, and I hope your 2021 brings you everything that you want, including a vaccine, hopefully. And until we meet again, take care, and